I am your host, Kennedy. We are broadcasting live from WPCS. WPCS means we promote community success. So if you have any ideas or ways to help promote the community, feel free to let us know. On today's episode, sorry, I'm just watching a little feedback right now. Okay, so on today's episode, we will be talking about my show, what it means, what we'll be getting into on this show, who I am as your host, and we'll also be talking about relationships today and what everybody's roles in said relationships are. So, I just think that's so cute. I'm so sorry. I'm going to use it so much. My name is Kennedy. I am 23 years old. For my background, I have a little bit of psychology as well as Christianity, of course. Spiritually, I consider myself a follower of Christ. I don't particularly consider myself a Christian, just because I feel like there are a lot of things with religion that have been twisted over time. But as I said, I am a follower in Christ and a firm believer in the Lord, and I think the Holy Spirit dwells within all of us. I'm not judging anybody from this show. I'm not trying to change anybody's stance or anything. I'm simply offering another perspective of how to view things. For me personally, I feel like I'm only 23. I still struggle with a lot of things. You know, mental health is a big part of what this show is going to surround as well. I do struggle with anxiety. I struggle with ADHD. So if y'all catch me, strolling off or going down one of my rabbit holes, just bear with me. Okay, I promise we'll get there. But like I said, for my podcast, the idea originally presented itself about a year ago. It was something that I prayed on a lot because I felt like God would just keep putting these little eggs in my ear. Like, Kennedy, drop a podcast. Kennedy, people need to hear what you have to say. And so from family to friends, even random people, I had a Uber driver at one point tell me I needed a podcast. They just kept telling me that I needed to get my voice out there and share my perspective on things. So here we are, a year and a half later. I finally have the platform thanks to Roger and Mr. Scott here at WPCS. And I'm super excited to see where this journey takes us. So let's get started on today's topic. For today, we will be talking about relationships. Now, like I said, I am not perfect. I'm not your relationship coach. I'm not a relationship guru. I'm a girl learning just like y'all. And one thing I had to learn in my relationship is how to be just compassionate, even in the midst of arguments. Even in the midst of me feeling like my points aren't being heard, I have to remember that I'm not the only one in said relationship. As far as relationships go, I look from the lens of dating to marry. I'm not one of those girls who likes to jump from guy to guy. Don't judge anybody. I understand everybody has their own journeys. But for me personally, I've always been a girl who believed that eventually God would bring me a man who I could grow beside and learn with, and he did just that. So, to give y'all a little background on my relationship history. So, my fiance, his name is Brandon. He is a Cancer. He's 27. And I'm a Capricorn, by the way. Just throw that out there. So, Capricorns and Cancers are super compatible, but we're also just alike. So, we're both very emotional. We both want to get our points across. We both want to be heard. And we both love very hard. And one thing that I feel like God did his biggest one with this connection is because no matter what, we're both willing to grow with each other. Growing comes with a lot of growing pains, and everybody's not going to want to talk about that. Everybody doesn't want to talk about the side of relationships where you're still having to grow. You're still having to learn how to communicate. You don't know everything all the way. You don't know how to express properly that something upsets you. So you're sitting here and you're yelling and then you shut down. At least when I say you, I'm talking about me. Um, and something that I've learned over time is that the partner that I have is so understanding. And I think that's so important for men to realize, like, when you have a woman next to you, we're very emotional creatures. So we're not going to sit here and just be stoic or just go with the flow if we feel like we aren't being heard. I feel like a lot of people don't want to give us our credit when it comes to that because even though I was 21 when we started our relationship, I was very emotionally mature. And I had a lot of emotions that I didn't even understand yet. So it took a lot of growth on both ends for us to get to the point where we are today, where he can look at me and know exactly what's wrong, or he can hear it by the tone in my voice. You know, he just pays attention, and that's very important. So, like I said, this podcast is going to dive into the Bible. We're going to get into everything. We're going to talk about what the Bible says about topics. We're going to talk about the Bible's viewpoint of things and how we can apply it to our real world. So, as far as relationships go, the Bible really says a few major things, in my opinion. The Bible says that each marriage requires love, mutual respect and submission, selflessness, faithfulness, forgiveness, or as I like to call it, grace, patience, and most importantly, placing God at the center of everything we do. So, what does this look like for you? When you're going into a relationship, whether you're dating to marry or even if you're just dating to date, you should still have these basic building blocks for your relationship if you want it to work. There has to be a mutual respect. You can't respect somebody who doesn't respect you, and vice versa. Respect is earned, it's not given. So, as time goes on, you'll learn to respect your partner even more than you did if it wasn't like that from the beginning. I know for me and Brandon, I respected him pretty much from the get go because I'm a very respectful person when it comes to my friends and just any relationships that I have. I believe it's important in platonic and romantic relationships to have respect. You have to learn how to respect people's boundaries, how to respect how you come to people, and respect each other's point of views because everybody's perspective is valid. Perception is not reality. Don't think, oh, if I see it this way, everybody else is going to see it this way because they're absolutely not. You can view something one way and then you go and tell somebody else, oh, this is how it happened. I saw XYZ. And when I saw XYZ, I knew ABC. But in actuality, that other person is like, well, actually, what you saw meant this. And when I said this, this is what I meant. So that's why it's important to have that respect because if you respect each other's boundaries and perspective, you can have those open, honest conversations. You don't have to sit here and think, oh, well, I can't come to my person about this situation. I can't come to them and express how this is making me feel because they're not going to understand it. You thinking that you're not understood by your partner shows you that you don't feel respected by your partner. The two really go hand in hand. To have that mutual understanding, there has to be a mutual respect. Like I said, also, love is a big part of it. I think that's pretty basic. Don't be in a relationship with somebody that you don't really love. If you don't love them, walk away because there's somebody out there that will love them and will love you. I feel like a lot of people try to force things to work or tell themselves, I can fall in love with this person. I can find the love that I need for this person. But the beautiful thing about love is it happens naturally. It's not something you can force. It's not something that you read a book and you're like, okay, this is how I'm going to love you today. Because chapter 3 said to love someone, you have to know exactly how they like their sandwiches cut. That's not love. Love is when you look at them and your heart does that little flutter. Love is walking down the street and seeing a painting or seeing the way the leaves fall and your heart immediately goes to them or your mind goes to them and you want to share those moments with them. That's love. Love is where when you're laying down at the end of the night, the last person you're thinking about is them. When you wake up in the morning, right after you thank God for waking you up, you're thanking God for waking your person up as well because you love them. So I think a basic thing that everybody needs to know is learn what love means for you. Learn your love languages and learn your partner's love languages so you can show them that you love them and they can feel loved by you. Because if you get to a point in your relationship where you aren't feeling loved or the other person isn't going to feel loved, there comes a point where there's ridges that grow in your relationship. And now instead of feeling like, oh, I can come to this person, I love them with everything, it's, I don't know if they love me the same way I love them. I don't know if they truly understand me and see me and love me. And that's what's so important about these relationships when you're thinking about marrying somebody is you need to feel loved by them even in the midst of y'all's arguments. I can sit here and scream my head off at my man, and trust me, I do. I'm always yelling at him. But I also know that at the end of the day, I don't love anyone else the way that I love him, and nobody loves me the way that he loves me. So even when we're fighting, even when I'm yelling at him or I'm upset, or even when he's upset, like we still sit down at the end of the conversation and we tell each other, I love you, I'm in love with you, no matter how long it takes, and I love you, miss you, mean it. And for us, I love you, miss you, mean it. Of course, we stole from a country song, but I love you, I'm in love with you, no matter how long it takes. It means that not only do I love you, I'm in love with you. So, you can have love for everybody. You can have love for your friends, family, your dog, your cat. But to be in love with someone is to love those flaws, love the things that, they don't even love about themselves sometimes. And my man and me, we definitely have that spark between us that helps us love those things. Um, the next part of a relationship that you need is selflessness. For a lot of people, selflessness looks like if I'm hungry and you're hungry, I'll give you my plate. But that's not the depth of selflessness that you need for a relationship. For a relationship to work, you have to be able to look past what you want and look at what you guys both want for your future. And again, when I'm talking about relationships, I'm talking about relationships where you are dating to marry. So that means at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what y'all go through, it doesn't matter what ups and downs you have. And you know that this is the person you're going to stick beside. You know that this is the person that you're going to walk down that aisle towards, you're going to have kids with, you're going to travel the world with. That's the lens that I'm looking for when I talk about these things that you need for these relationships. The selflessness is something that will take you a long way in life, not just with your relationships, but from the way you work, from the way you interact with people. Selflessness comes from ego death. And one of the spiritualists that I'm really into, her name is Kino. I've been following her for about a year now. She always speaks on ego death and what that means for people. And I feel like a lot of people don't really understand what ego death is. They look at ego death like, oh, I'm losing my identity, I'm losing my sense of self. But in a relationship and in spirituality, ego represents when you're solely thinking about yourself. Collectivism is something that a lot of people lack, especially when it comes to relationships. You're not looking at what will benefit you and your partner. You're looking at what will benefit you, what will make you happy, what will make you feel like you're truly loved in the relationship. Well, with ego death, in a relationship, it's important to let go of that ego. It's important to think of the whole picture and how it'll affect both of you. It represents letting go of the need to be right. When you're in those arguments and they're just not getting where you're coming from and you don't want to let it go. So you're still walking around angry and you don't want to talk to them. And they're asking you, do you want something to eat? And you're just, rolling your eyes and looking away. But you're hungry. Your stomach is eating your spine right now. But you won't fold. You won't look back. You won't tell him, no, my feelings are hurt because XYZ, because your feelings are hurt. And you're right and he's wrong. Well, in a relationship, it doesn't matter who is right and who is wrong. It's right versus wrong, period. And when you look at the issues, you need to look at the issue as this is a problem that we are facing in our relationship, not a me versus him or me versus her type of situation. Y'all are both in the relationship. The problem is going to affect both of you. So you need to come up with a solution that is a compromise for both of you while also helping both of your emotions be heard. So that's one thing. It's also letting go of that need to control and manage everything. We're going to dive in a little bit to what the woman's role in a relationship looks like, what a man's role in a relationship looks like. But one thing I think is very important is the fact that when you're in a relationship, like I said, we use collective thinking. We're not looking from a mindset of what do I want my man to do or what do I want my woman to do. When you're going into a relationship, you're not asking God for your perfect list of a man, because I promise you, you'll be waiting. The dating pool out here right now, y'all can't be a little too picky. I can't really sit there and be like, oh, well, I don't really like him because one of his teeth is crooked. Like, by all means, I understand, we want flawless men, but some of us ain't even flawless women. Let's be for real. So, when it comes to things like that, you can't sit there and be like, oh, well, he doesn't do XYZ, because eventually, if you're growing with someone, you never know what they'll bring to the table or what God is doing to craft them into being your person. So that need to control everything, to micromanage every little aspect of your relationship, throw it out the window, because at the end of the day, ultimately, nothing is in our control and everything is in God's control. We all know this. This isn't new facts. I shouldn't have to deep dive into the Bible for this, because it's all throughout the Bible, from the Israelites to Jesus himself. Everybody knows that ultimately we have no control over anything that happens. But what we do have control over is ourselves, and how we handle situations, and how we go about expressing ourselves in every situation. So that's another part of it. And then the constant validation. Now, don't get me wrong, I love for my man to tell me all the reasons he loves me and tell me how I'm the most beautiful girl in the world and he'll never find anybody better than me. That is not seeking validation. That's simply just wanting to know how much somebody loves you. Seeking validation comes from the idea of needing somebody to back every single thought or every single decision that you make. When you're in a relationship, you're not always going to agree with each other. And there are going to be times where you come to your partner and you're like, hey, I'm wanting to do this business. I want to go with this business model, or I want to do this. And they completely don't understand. They don't see the vision. And that's okay. It is okay for them not to see your vision, because at the end of the day, what they say or what they think isn't going to change the outcome of what you do if it's what God means for you to do. So when it comes to our ego, it's very easy for us to sit there and tell people, oh, well, now I don't know if I can do this because you don't believe in me, or you don't believe that I can do this. The reason you feel like that is because deep down you didn't believe that you could do it. You didn't think that you had it in you to put forth the business model that you came with, or go with this new almond milk that you wanted to try from the grocery store. Like, every little decision is not going to be validated by your partner. You have to be okay with that. There's no way to sit here and control your mind and your partner's mind. If you're trying to do that, you're going to be tired. You're not going to have the energy for a relationship, because you're too busy trying to make sure that all your eggs are lined up exactly how you want them. There's none with any cracks. You need to make sure that every egg in this basket is perfect. God didn't ask you for perfect eggs. God asked you to just follow him and let him guide you. So that's part of the reason, that's a big part of the reason why I feel like an ego death is very important in relationships. Um, I think another thing that people need to understand is that when you do go through your ego death, on both ends, because everybody has an ego. When the man goes through an ego death, when the woman goes through an ego death, if you're in a same-sex relationship, when both of y'all go through an ego death, the fact of the matter is you're creating a positive space for changes. You're fostering an environment that allows you to grow, to where you can trust each other and you can have mutual understandings of situations. If you let go of that constant need to be right, when you come to your partner and you have a disagreement, you understand it's okay for them not to understand it right now. It's okay for them not to agree with my standpoint. That doesn't mean they love me any less. That doesn't mean our relationship is any less valid. It doesn't take away from it at all. And I think it's so beautiful to have a relationship where you can genuinely just enjoy each other, enjoy being yourselves, grow, and enjoy life, because everybody isn't promised the opportunities that we get throughout this time. There's a lot of people who won't even wake up tomorrow and don't even know it yet. And instead of enjoying the bit of time that they have left with their partner, they're upset because they didn't like the way their spaghetti tasted last night. I'm sorry, there's little things that you have to learn how to let go of in order to truly enjoy the quality of the relationship that God is giving you. And now we're going to move forward a little bit more into this. I really like looking into the roles of relationships. So I know in modern times, roles look different for everybody. You have same-sex relationships, LGBTQ relationships, cis hetero relationships, where everybody's trying to figure out, what do I want to bring into the relationship, and what do I expect to get out of the relationship. For me, what I'm going to be diving into today is the man versus woman, or feminine versus masculine energy in a relationship. And for whoever fosters it, whoever carries it, um, there are different things that you have to bring to the plate that God specifically lays out for us as guidelines for what we need for a successful relationship. Like I told y'all, I am definitely in a dating to marriage relationship. I'm not just dating to date this man. We've been together for almost 3 years. He has seen me at my worst. I have seen him at his worst. And he deals with my little crazy self, and I deal with his amazing self. So, for me personally, when I look at the Bible, like I said, there are key factors and key points that every marriage needs to have. That's the love, mutual respect, submission, faithfulness, selflessness, forgiveness, patience, and God at the center of everything. Um, those are basically like, look at them like tools. You have a tool belt, and you have these little tools in every slot. These are ones that you can pull from and be like, okay, we're arguing right now. What is missing from our relationship, or what do I need to bring to make sure that this argument doesn't go from a 2 to a 10? That's your tool belt. For women, we are specifically called to be the helper and the partner in Genesis 2, verse 18. This doesn't mean that we are inferior or solely in a relationship to serve our man by any means. What it means is, you need to be there for your partner. You need to be there to give them a shoulder to lean on. For me personally, and I know a lot of us who are listening to this today, if you are with someone in the African American community, we already face a lot of diversities and adversaries when we go into the real world. So when you come home, especially for our men, they need somewhere where they can come to and just take the weight off of their shoulders. You don't have to be Superman. I don't have to be Superwoman. I can be myself. You can be yourself, and we just genuinely just comfort each other. A woman is naturally supposed to be nurturing, caring, loving, supportive. Um, but that also comes from the type of relationship that is fostered. What energy you bring into the relationship is the energy that you're going to get out of it. Always keep that in mind. Energy cycles itself. So if you're bringing in negative energy, or you're bringing in an environment where you're constantly arguing or constantly having disagreements, you're not going to be able to foster that positive relationship that you're searching for. We are also meant to be strong and supportive, like I said, and find ways to use our strengths in our relationships. Every relationship is going to look different for everybody. You're not always going to be the most caring or gentlest woman in the world. Trust me, I'm the furthest from gentle sometimes. There are times where I genuinely just sit here and I'm like, oh my goodness, I can be very mean. My mouth is so mean today. And I have to take a step back and just realize, I need to be nicer. I need to use a different tone. I need to apologize for the things that I said because I don't mean them. And so, as time goes on, you just learn how to navigate these things. Um, Being respectful of our husbands is another thing that's mentioned in the Bible. So, one thing that I also always have to remind myself is that our relationship is our bubble. So, when you're in a relationship, it's you and your partner against everything else in the world, right? So, what do you bring into your bubble? If my man isn't yelling at me, why am I yelling at him? God knows. God knows. But I'm constantly yelling because I feel like it's a great way to express myself sometimes. But it might not be the most respectful way to express myself to my partner. And I recognize that. Respect comes from just understanding that our man is meant to lead. Not saying that a woman can't lead. Of course, there are roles and times where you have to take the lead. And you have to sit there and be like, okay, babe, I'm not going for this. I don't agree with your viewpoint on this. I don't agree with how you're handling this situation. Disagreeing with something is not the same as disrespecting it, period. I think a lot of us need to understand that because sometimes, I know for me personally, before this relationship and relationships that I had in the past, it was very hard for me to express when I felt a type of way or when I wasn't agreeing with something because I thought my partner was going to be upset. I thought it was being disrespectful. But in this relationship, I've learned that expressing myself is not disrespectful. It's the way that I express myself that can foster that disrespect. So, like I said, you just have to know the energy that you're giving and receiving from your partner. Respect, like I said, is mentioned several times in the Bible. My favorite verse from it is Ephesians chapter 5, verse 33. However, each of you must also love his wife as he loves himself. And husbands, and wait, hold on. I'm so sorry, I messed that up. However, each one of you must also love his wife as he loves himself, and the wife must respect her husband. Remember, like I said, respect represents different things for everybody. But for me personally, I feel like respecting somebody is respecting their viewpoints, respecting their opinions, and respecting how I come and present myself to them. Um, I know when we were growing up, it was kind of hard, like navigating respect for me personally, because, as a kid, we're taught respect your elders. So respect looks like yes, sir, yes, ma'am, no, sir, no, ma'am. It looks like not disagreeing with someone who's older than you because it can come off as disrespectful. Well, as I navigated adulthood, once I turned 18 and got sent off into the real world, aka college, because we all know college is not the real world. Um, but when I got out into the real world, I saw that respect is something that definitely looks different for everybody. What you see as disrespectful, somebody else might look at that and be like, why are you tripping? Why are you upset? There's no reason to be upset about that. But in actuality, like I said earlier, their perception of things is how they perceive what you're bringing to them, which is why it's important when you're going into every situation to understand that no matter how upset you are or how valid your emotions may be, because everybody's emotions are valid. It doesn't matter if you're the good guy or the bad guy in the situation. Everybody has different perspectives of what happened. But when you come to each other and you talk about it, sometimes you can explain things in a way that helps the other person see why you hurt them or why, they hurt you. So when I look at respect, I definitely looked at, how I did it as a kid, making sure I was out of the way. And I tried to apply that to a lot of my relationships and friendships when I was an adult. So that looked like if I disagreed with something, I wouldn't say I disagreed with it, but I'm a Capricorn. So I can't hide my emotions very well. I can't hide my facial expressions. So when I'm sitting there and I'm listening to somebody disagree and they're sitting there telling me, like, oh, yeah, Kennedy, you agree? You get what I'm saying? And I'm like, yeah, yeah, I get it. Whole time, I don't get nothing. I'm sitting here like, baby, why is that how you want to navigate the situation? So I had to learn, even with my friendships, how to tell people when I don't agree with them and how to do it in a respectful way because, like I said, growing up, I didn't have the chance to learn these lessons. So this is something I had to teach myself. Um, and learning how to navigate respect, of course, it helps my relationship because now, as I get deeper into this relationship and we have disagreements and I don't understand anything, I know how to address it with respect. I don't sit there and I'm like, oh, well, I don't agree with this. I can't tell him that I don't agree. He's not going to understand why I don't agree. It doesn't matter if he understands. I have to be true to myself. And I have to understand that if I don't agree with something, it's not respectful to lie and say that I do. That's more disrespectful than just truly sharing your opinion with somebody. Um, Perception can become deception real quick. You can sit there and not give somebody your point of view, and I promise you, before you know it, that person has all types of thoughts in their head about you. They're taking this one situation, and because you didn't express how you truly felt or what affected you from the situation. They're looking at it and they have to come to their own conclusions. So when these people are coming to their conclusions, guess what they're doing? They're creating a reality where you are this person or this entity in whatever story they're creating about you. I see it happen all the time. I see people who either A, don't express themselves, or B, lie to people and tell them, oh, yeah, I agree with this, I agree with this. And then that same person is going to turn around and go behind your back and tell somebody else, oh, well, I was talking to Kennedy and she said I was right. So obviously I'm right and you're wrong. And guess what? Now Kennedy is brought into this, and whole time Kennedy didn't agree with a damn thing that you said. But instead of telling you that I didn't agree with you, I sat there and I was like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah. That is exactly how you should handle that situation. If that's how you feel, then go for it. Don't feel any type of way. Don't let nobody take that away from you, girl. You got it. Whole time they don't got it. Whole time your friend is looking real crazy and you're letting them look crazy. Think about that. Are you really respecting your friend if you're sitting there and you're telling them that they're right in a situation where they're completely wrong? No, you're not. You're not respecting your friend. You're not respecting yourself. You're not respecting the situation at hand. And when somebody else gets a hold of this story and gets a hold of how you handled the situation, you're not respecting the person that's being crafted in their story at all. Because now, when that person comes across you and they're actually interacting with you, already in their head, it's like, oh, well, I know how she's going to handle this situation because she agreed with how so and so handled the situation. Do you think that's respectful to let somebody just run with whatever narrative they have of you? No. Now, I can understand in situations where people don't want to know the truth, they want to run with those narratives. Let them. Because eventually, Spirit reveals everything. If you are being truthful and you're being honest to yourself, like, you don't have to explain yourself in every situation, but you do have to be respectful to yourself and express yourself no matter what. Whether it be with friends, whether it be with your relationship, even with your parents. I know that's something that a lot of us, especially in my generation, are trying to learn how to navigate and learning how to, break out of those mindsets that we had as kids. There's a way to come to your parents respectfully and express to them how a situation is hurting you. Now, I know sometimes, for me personally, I'm a very emotional person. So sometimes when I'm coming to my mom with something, I'm sitting here boohoo crying, snotty nose, like, you hurt my feelings and you hurt my feelings because XYZ. And I have to sit there and force myself to get it all out because otherwise I'm letting those emotions fester in myself. And then I start to feel like I'm not only disrespecting myself, I'm disrespecting my mom because I'm not giving her the benefit of the doubt to be able to handle whatever emotions that I have. As we become adults, we want that respect. We want our parents to look at us and respect our opinions. But the harsh reality of it is, our parents ain't going to respect us until we give them something to respect. So if you're sitting here and you're asking your mom to respect your opinion, or you're asking your dad to respect your point of view or your perspective or something, and they're looking at you, they're looking at the things that you're doing in your life, they're looking at the way you talk, the friends you have, and they're like, little girl, why would I respect you? Why would they respect you? You know what I mean? Like I said at the very beginning, respect is earned, not given. So when we become adults, we do have to earn the respect of our parents because our parents raised us from kids. Now, everybody's parents looks different. You have some parents who, from a very young age, they're teaching their kids how to express themselves. They're teaching their kids how to come to them with every situation. And then you have other parents, ethnic parents, Black, Hispanic, all of us. Yep, we're in the same boat. My way or the highway. I don't know how many of us experienced this growing up. I know me personally, it was my mama's way or it was the highway. And that was, growing up, I didn't really like it because I felt like, sometimes you have to learn how to navigate different situations with different people. But as I got older and I saw how some other people were raised, the other adults in the world who don't have no respect, who don't know right from wrong, who don't know how to say no to nothing, I couldn't do nothing but thank my mama for raising me the right way she did. Like, we may not have had the perfect relationship, but she crafted me into the woman I am today. And I have to give her her props for that. I think everybody should give their parents their props at some point, because we all have to also realize our parents are human too. A lot of our parents became parents at the age that we are. I'm 23. By the time my mom was 23, she had 2 kids. I know plenty of people who's, by the time their parents were 23, 24, they already had 3, 4 kids. So what they had to learn and navigate, they had to learn and navigate these things on top of raising a family, on top of making sure the bills were paid, on top of making sure that we had clothes on our back and we had food on the table and we were going to school and we were doing our education and we were getting everything right. So imagine the parents that had anxiety, and as we all know, in a lot of the ethnic communities, they don't believe in mental health. They're not going to the hospital and figuring out, like, oh, I have anxiety, I should be on this medicine so that it calms my anxiety down. They don't believe in it. They think them snapping and feeling overwhelmed and overstimulated, that's just normal. That's just parenthood. So when we get older and we learn these things about ourselves, I know for me personally, I've definitely applied it to my relationship with my mom. And I've used the things that I've learned to try to understand why my childhood looked the way I did. I think that's important for everybody to do at some point. I know there are some situations where parents do a number on us, and there's some parents who were bad parents, and it's okay to say that you had a bad parent. It's okay to acknowledge that. But there are also those parents that had, they had good intentions. So, oh my goodness, I'm seeing the chat now. Wasn't able to see it before, but yes, Jonah. Hi, baby. Clock it, because it's so real. Parents are not perfect. We're all human. We're all on this experience together. So as we're going through it, we have to learn how to navigate this thing and just find ways to accept everybody, flaws and all. Now, I talked a lot about a woman's role in a relationship. We're going to get into a man's role in a relationship, but we are going to go to a quick commercial break. When I come back, I would love to hear from you guys. Like I said, I do have a request line. The number is 704-974-3720. So ladies, feel free to chime in. If anybody wants to chime in about anything that we've talked about so far, feel free to do so. I'll be back in about 2-3 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes for our little commercial break. So bear with me. See y'all in a bit. Bye.
Hey, yo.
Choke myself out.
Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the UAP Radio YouTube channel to catch new podcast shows every week.
Who is he talking to?
Hey, yo. Hey, yo. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the UAP Radio YouTube channel to catch new podcast shows every week.
Who is he talking to?
Charlotte and surrounding areas, get ready for the hottest festival coming to the Carolinas. The Peachy King Southern Soul Festival, November 8th, 9th, and 10th at the Cleveland County Fairgrounds. Featuring an incredible lineup of artists every single day. Pokey Bear, EU featuring Sugar Bear.
Stop. Give me $1,000 right now. I want 1,000 right now.
Now that I got your attention, I don't want $1,000, because if I asked for that, you'd probably be like,
This fool is tripping.
I'm out of here.
but for
$5.
this could be your infomercial being promoted, advertised, and marketed to thousands of listeners and viewers every day for a week on all UAP radio shows, platforms, and affiliated pages. This includes promoting your websites, businesses, bios, ebooks, crowdfundings, apps, studios, songs, music projects, events, and all things new regarding the Black community news. This gets you 1 minute of airtime on UAP radio shows and custom voiceover creations tailored to fit your infomercial. So call UAP Radio today at 704-418-1876 and you too can help strengthen the unity in the community.
UAP Radio, and for the voice of the black community.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Roger McLean of UAP Radio. Here where we offer photography, videography, DJing, podcasting, and develop social media/commercial content for business owners, entrepreneurs, educators, organizations, and creatives to help promote their events, products and services, special announcements, promotions, and more. So if you would like to book one of our services or see everything that we have to offer, go to uapradio.com and contact me today at 704-418-1876.
UAP Radio, and for the voice of the black community.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Roger McLean of UAP Radio. Here where we offer photography,
Hi,
video.
I'm DJ Dr. Jim at the all-new WPCS podcast in Shelby, North Carolina, where Shelby knows that we promote community success. And speaking of the community, you know election time is right around the corner. So if you're a candidate that's running for a public office and you'd like to come to WPCS podcast for a 30-minute interview where we can get your message out to the public, then feel free to give us a call at 704-974-1593, 704-406-9727. It's the all-new WPCS podcast in Shelby, North Carolina, where Shelby knows that we promote community success. So then, after slow jam, after slow.
Hey yo. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the UAP Radio YouTube channel to catch new podcast shows every week.
Who is he talking to?
And we're back. They wanna be me. Hit the road, EXIT. They BIT. Spit your game, pop your shit. Face on pretty, I stay thick. Gotta love Nikki. Round of applause for my queen. Oh my gosh, I love her so much. Okay, and we're back after a small commercial break. Did y'all miss me? I missed y'all. Anyway, so like I said, I will be opening up the call line. The number will definitely be blinging across the screen in just a little bit. So if y'all do have any calls, feel free to call in. I have my right-hand man here ready to answer these calls for us. So if y'all call in, you will be answered. I'm not going to ignore your calls. But if anybody call on here with some old bull, I promise you I will hang up. You'll hear... Mm-hmm. And if I like what you have to say, you'll hear... It's so magical. It's so magical. So... feel free to call, like I said, but for now, we're just going to dive into the rest of the show. So, like I said, we went over what a woman's role in a relationship looks like. Now, what is a man's role supposed to be? Most people look at the man and they're like, go work and go build something, because men are kind of lazy sometimes and they like to be pampered without giving us anything to pamper for. Oh my goodness. Hey, baby. I love you. I miss you so much. I'm glad you were able to tune in. One of my other fellow lover girls here. And we have a call. Oh. Don't be calling and hanging up. Don't be blinging my line and hanging up. Don't be scared now. If you're going to call. Okay? Okay. So, like I was saying, a man's role in a relationship is definitely one that needs a lot of revision on how people look at a man's role. A lot of people look at the man like he's just supposed to go to work and come home, not realizing that a man is definitely supposed to provide a lot of things. When we say a man is a provider, they're supposed to provide us a safe place, a safe haven. You're supposed to look at your man and have all the security in the world. You're not supposed to look at your man and be like, I'm tired of laying next to him, Grandpa. Because that's too damn bad. If you're tired of your man, leave him. I don't know what to tell you. Like, you can't stay anywhere that you're not happy. You can't stay anywhere where you don't really, the energy is going to be felt. I'll tell you that now. And when that energy starts getting felt, you're going to feel really bad for not, not picking up the pieces. Yeah, don't be scared. Don't be scared. Spaceman Stu. Okay. Anyway, like I was saying, for your man, he has to be able to offer you that security. He has to be able to show you that he can be counted on. You can go to your man and you don't have to worry about if he'll be able to give you the money to fix your tire. I understand as we grow up, hey auntie, as we grow up and we're growing in these relationships, life happens. So I'm not sitting here like a man needs to be able to give you his last dime. I mean, it would be nice, but we have to understand the economy that we're in. You want your man to eat right. You don't want him to be skin and bones, but at the end of the day, a man provides more than just money. They provide comfort. So say something happens. When you're marrying somebody, this is your life partner. You need to be able to go through hard times by them. I have been at the pits of my depression, like real bad, okay? To the point where I couldn't even get out of bed. And my man was right there, kissing on me, telling me I was the most beautiful girl in the world, running the shower because my little ass was smelly. And, just supporting me and loving me and not like judging me or making me feel like I couldn't be next to him. There's going to come a time if, life always throws us these little curveballs. So you never know who you're going to lose. I lost my grandpa and my grandmother within the span of a year. And the loss of my grandpa was very hard, but it was also at the beginning of my relationship. And it's definitely what made me fall in love with my man even more. Because during this time where I can't tell y'all how many times I thought like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going to go from here. And I was sitting there like, dang, like, is this real? Like, am I really losing two of the most important people in my life? And I looked to my side, and there's my man right there comforting me. What do you need? Mind you, we had just started talking. We've been talking for 3 months at this point. And, I had to really lean on him during this time. And being able to lean on him and just have him tell me, like, hey, it's okay. You don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to worry about money or anything like that. If you need me to pay for your plane ticket, I have you. Like, whatever you need, just let me know. And there was a point where I literally was just crying and he was just holding me, just comforting me. There would be times where he would sit on FaceTime for me. And this was when my grandpa was in the hospital. I was the only one that could be there for my grandpa at the time. So since I was the only one there, I had to make sure that I was giving all of the updates for my family. And I had actually got snowed in at the hospital, so nobody else could come up there. Nobody else could be with me. It was literally just me. So I was texting my family all the updates. I was making sure I was talking to all the nurses. It's actually part of the reason why I went into medical assisting as well, but we'll get in that another day. But I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't eating. I was solely focused on my grandpa. And so when Brandon would call me, he'd be like, babe, what are you doing? You need to eat something. And he would send me money, even though I didn't need it, because the people at the cafeteria would bring me meals with my grandpa. But he was sending me money for meals, and then he would tell me that I needed to sleep. So he would have me set him up, and I would set him up on the windowsill, and I would lay out. I don't know if y'all have had to stay overnight at the hospital, but in some of the rooms, they have like a couch. So they would bring me a pillow and a blanket, and I would lay down and take a short little nap. And during that time, he would watch my grandpa for me. I'm not going to get emotional, but it's little stuff like that that just really, showed me that I had a life partner. Somebody that can really just know how to support you during those times. It doesn't always have to be like a grand gesture. It's the little things, and that's really what matters in all relationships. But for a man, you have to know how to do those little things. You have to have that empathy. And you have to have a level of emotional matureness. I'm so sorry. I didn't want to be the one to drop it on you. I didn't want to drop that bomb. But hey, if you're not emotionally mature, stay out of relationships. Learn yourself. Learn your emotions. Learn how to communicate and express yourself. And then get in a relationship. Because I'm telling you now, if you don't, it's not going to work. And it won't be a healthy relationship. It will definitely be a toxic relationship. Do you want that? You want a toxic relationship? Do you? Oh, okay. So, like I said, be emotionally mature. You're also supposed to reflect love to your partner. The way you look at your partner is a reflection of how you look at yourself. If you can't look at your partner and love the little things, love the little flaws that they have, you're not doing that for yourself. And as a man, if you go into a relationship with a woman and she's confident, or maybe she's not confident, maybe she's having a day where she's like, dang, babe, this shirt is not flattering for me. It's not doing anything. If you're sitting there and you can't look at her and be like, babe, you're the most beautiful girl in the world. What are you talking about? If you sit there and you look at your girl and you go, well, change the shirt. See, a girl like me, I lay hands. I can't speak for anybody else, but I will quickly snap out of that, oh, I don't feel pretty. And next thing you know, it's nuck if you buck. Do not play with me. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Learn how to give a compliment to a woman. As men, I find it so crazy when I get online and I see men bashing women for posting a picture of themselves and feeling themselves. Why? Why does it upset you that woman is loving how she looks and loving who she is? Is the call coming from inside the house? You wish that was you, huh? Oh, okay. Okay. But like I said, learn how to be a reflection of yourself in the relationship. Leadership, of course, is very important. You have to be a leader. You don't get into a relationship talking about, I want to marry you, and you don't even know how to lead me to the grocery store. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? You want me to have your kids. You want me to lock in with you. You want me to pay bills with you. And you don't even know how to count to 3. What are we doing? I don't know, child. I don't know. I feel like that's a given. I don't feel like that's something that should have to be explained. As a man, naturally, you should know how to be a leader. If you don't know how to be a leader, don't get into a relationship. Simple. I'm not saying women can't lead, because obviously we do. There are times where I have to take the lead on things. There are times where I have to take the initiative. My man is bad at budgeting. He cannot budget. If his left arm depended on it, he gonna spend the rest of what he got for some hot fries. No, baby. No. I have to do the budget plans. I have to sit there and make sure that I have everything lined up, because that's one of my strengths. That's what I bring to the relationship. that's not taking away from a man being a leader. If my man at the end of the day is like, hey, so I'm seeing that you're doing XYZ. I feel like you should do it this way. I feel like I will be able to help you more doing it this way. Naturally, if my man is coming to me with a plan, if I trust him and feel safe with him, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to follow. So that trust, that building that respect for each other, that mutual respect is going to make it a lot easier for both of y'all to fulfill that role of leadership, of following, of just being a team. That's what comes with being on a team. Another thing is providing and service. So what does this look like for you? Exactly. My mom said it exactly right. I will never follow the lead of a man who will lead me off of a cliff. If you cannot properly lead, you will not be followed by anyone, a man, woman, child, dog, cat, fish. The goldfish gonna run away from the bowl if you can't lead him right. I'm so sorry. I don't want to be the one to tell you this. It will jump down the toilet bowl itself before it stays in that house with you. If you cannot properly lead somebody, nobody's going to want to be around you, especially as a man. I can tell y'all that now. I feel like a lot of men always want to have the woe is me viewpoint of, oh, you know, when is our turn? When do we get to follow? You know, that's cute. That's cool. When did you lead in the first place? People don't do that. What in the world? But people don't know how to do that. People don't know how to properly accept that as a man, naturally you have to learn how to take the initiative on things. You have to learn how to navigate situations that you have never been in, especially if you're starting a family with somebody. I know for me personally, I'm young. I'm 23. I'm not in a place to be thinking about kids yet, and I'm not thinking about kids yet. But what I am thinking about is what I want for my marriage and what foundation I want to build for us so that when we do get to a point where we're having kids, I don't have to stress and worry about whether my child is going to eat that night or if they'll have enough Pampers or if they'll have enough formula. I don't want to worry about those things. And one thing that my man definitely took the lead and the initiative on was our planning as far as our future. Because I can't lie, I didn't always have this viewpoint of I don't want kids. I thought I was going to have all my kids by the time I was 25. I was going to be married, living in a mansion, rich, hecka businesses. None of that happened. I am 23 years old, still learning, still navigating, and I'm perfectly okay with it. I know that when the time is right, me and my man will be able to bring a family into this world and properly care for it. And I'll be able to follow his lead because he's not trying to rush into it either. He's not trying to sit here and be like, oh, well, if you don't want to have my babies, we can't be in a relationship. Huh? You can't even give me a ring, but you want me to have your babies? Okay. Right. But like I said, it all falls in place. It all literally connects with everything from respect to leadership. I can't follow a man I don't respect. If your feet stink, I'm not following you. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But for real, if you got ugly toes, move around. I'm not laying next to a gargoyle. But anyway, I think another thing that's very important is having that idea of caring for your partner. That's what I mean by service. When I say service, I'm not talking about just, going and making sure that my car is taken care of. I mean services like if you see me extra stressed one day, take the initiative on cooking dinner. Take the initiative on cleaning the house up. Take the initiative on planning a date for us. Those are services. Services are things that help me feel seen in a relationship. As a man, you need to learn how to help your partner feel seen in a relationship. My mama said, a man can lead you to hell if you let him. Exactly, Kelly. Exactly. Don't let these men lead you to hell. Let them lead you to prosperity. If they can't lead you to prosperity, leave. Run. Run. Please run. I'm begging you, run. Run as far as you can. Like, I want you to run so fast. Usain Bolt is looking at your dust, and he's like, God damn. Whatever she getting away from, I need to get away from too. Like, I'm so serious. Do not let these, please. Oh my gosh, that's just one thing I can never stand for is a woman letting a man lead her that don't even got his shirt on right. Your man walking around with his shirt inside out, and you letting him lead you to McDonald's for a $5 bundle to share as a date. Stand up. Stand up. That's all I can say. Stand up. So, like I said, another thing is being patient. Now, let me sit up when I talk about this one. Twinkles. Patience. Patience. Patience is so important in a relationship. Not if your feet stink. Me and my man was just talking about ugly feet. Thank you. Now, listen, I'm not trying to go down a rabbit hole of feet, but let me tell y'all a story, right? I had this one friend when I was in college, and she had this boyfriend, and every time we talked, like, she was always like, I don't know, like, I don't want to say this because I don't want you looking at him weird. And I'm like, girl, ain't nobody worried about your man. Like, what are you talking about? And one day she was like, okay, look, how would you feel if your man's toes, like toenails, were like wrapping around his toes? And I have a very active imagination. So when she said this, I imagined like the toenails like curled and clawing and gripping. And I was like, sis, either take him to a nail salon or walk away. If his toenails can grip you, it is a problem. Why do men not want to take care of their feet? Like, this is a basic need that y'all should care about too. If we care about it, I'm telling you we care. I'm telling you we care. If I get some new silk sheets and I put them on my bed and you come and we all cuddled up and I get up the next morning and it looks like I have a freaking spare cat just clawing around in my bed, I'm kicking you out, blocking you on everything. You will never hear from me again. I'll probably call the cops on you. I don't even know. I don't know. I'm so sorry. I don't know. I don't know what I would say. I don't know what I would do. Fix y'all's feet. Fix them. Please. If y'all don't take nothing else from this show, take the fact that pedicures are universal. Anybody can have a pedicure. Don't make you gay. Don't make you do nothing. Like, you don't have to get your toenails painted. Take care of them, okay? Invest in a fingernail clipper. Maybe a file, a drill. Some of y'all need a damn saw, but we're not going to get all the way into that. We gotta walk away, because exactly, Kelly, that is a safety hazard. Like, I'm so serious. Like, run away. Man can pick a lock with his toes, and you talking about something. That's my man. You gonna stand beside him though, okay? But yes, like I was saying, for a man, it is important for them to be patient with their women. I feel like one thing that has helped my relationship go very far is my man's patience. If he wasn't as patient as he was, we probably would have definitely been broken up now, because I am a handful. It has taken a lot for me to get to a point where I can be open with my emotions. Please. I'm reading y'all's comments and y'all got me laughing because, yes, donate him immediately. Mutual respect is a must. Yes, it very much so is. But as I was saying, like, when you're being patient, it goes both ways. As a woman, we have to be patient with our men. Now, I'm not saying patience does not apply to the following. Cheating. Lying. Abuse. Verbal, physical, emotional, all of it. None of those things are things that you need to be patient for. If a man loves you, there are certain things and certain boundaries and certain stuff that will hurt him to do to you, and that's just facts. When it comes down to it, I need a fly swatter or something. But when it comes down to it, patience is something that is applied to growth. It's not applied to the flaws in a relationship. If somebody is cheating on you, walk away. Like, you deserve better. Don't sit there and try to change them or tell them like, oh, you know, you don't really love me. They don't. Yeah. Thank you. They don't. But like I said, patience is applied to things like, oh, you know, I'm sorry, I just saw me do that. They don't. It's just so funny. But anyway, patience is applied to things like communication. Communication is something that as we get older, we're all learning how to communicate properly. We're all learning how to properly tell each other what's affecting us and what's bothering us. You can't do that if you don't respect your partner. You can't do that if you're not patient with your partner, because I promise you, there are times where I want to put my man's head between a wall and a washing machine and go to town. But I'm patient and I'm calm. And I'm sure he feels the same way about me. His nickname for me is Bubbles and Transformer Ken. Transformer Ken is somebody who y'all don't want to meet. If she ever come out, I'm so sorry. I have no control over her. Bubbles is the little crybaby in me. Because when I'm angry, I cry. But like I said, like, these are things that he's had to learn about me, and he's patient with me. He's understanding of the fact that I'm still growing. I'm still learning. I'm not perfect. And I love him for that. I love him down for that. Because you don't find a lot of men who are able to do this. You know, you don't find a lot of men who are able to sit there and be like, you know what? She's still learning. She's still growing. Let me be patient. Let me give her time to grow into the woman that God is creating her to be. Because God isn't sitting there like, oh, you know, you have to be perfect, you know. You can't do that. You have to sit there and go with what God gives you. Another thing is commitment and honor. You have to commit to honor and serve God. If you're not committing to not only honor and serve God, but to honor and serve your partner, guess what? You're committing to playing your partner's face, basically. And that's never okay, especially if you're dating to marry like I am. There has to be a sense of commitment. We got a call? Okay. All right. Hello, caller.
Hey, Queen.
Man.
I was just wondering, what do you think about Dr. Umar's stance on relationships?
Dr. Umar's stance on relationships? Fill me
Yes,
in
ma'am.
on what his stance on relationships is. Give me a little snapshot of that.
Essentially, it's like no race mixing, I guess.
No racist. When you mean like, oh, you're talking about Dr. Umar, like, don't date outside of your race. That standpoint?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, I'll say for me personally, I don't date outside of my race. Me and my man are both strong black people. We stand
Period.
with the Browns, you know? But
Period.
I don't have anything against interracial relationships. What I will say though, and this is to go back to the respect thing, in an interracial relationship, if it's, let's say it's a white and a black partner, or a white Hispanic or Hispanic black, you guys have to understand the struggles from both ends. Being with a white person, I will say there's probably a lot less struggle on their end. Not to clock anybody's tea.
Yeah.
But I will
Sure.
say, like, with black people in particular, we have to be able to have those hard conversations with our partners,
Right.
especially if you're moving forward into the marriage stage, because when we marry somebody, we're becoming one with them. Their problems, their burdens become ours. You get what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get you. So my follow-up question is, do you think domestic violence is sometimes needed?
I'm on a recorded line right now, sir. Let me tell you. Like I said, no. Domestic violence is not needed. But, however, don't let nobody play in your face. Women to men, don't let nobody play in your face. Now, a man, I will say, I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if this upsets y'all. There is no circumstances where y'all should be putting your hands on a woman.
Right.
It's one thing
but
to
what if she isn't listening? What if she isn't listening?
The fuck do you mean? What if she not listening? Is she a dog?
Like, to what I'm saying. Can I just start, like, swinging?
No, baby, no. See, that's where communication comes into play.
And the last one. Can I cheat?
Hell no. Okay. Next caller. The fuck? I'm sorry, that just caught me off guard. Why would you ask me if you could cheat? Did I not just go on a whole spill about how cheating is not tolerated at all in relationships? No, you cannot cheat. No. Capital N, capital O, period. No. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Like I said, men have to be able to lead. When I was growing up, what's so funny. When I was growing up, my parents and family members, they had a running joke. Kennedy is book smart. She's not street smart. If she, is ever thrown out into the streets, we don't know how she's going to be, because you can't just pick up a book and read and learn everything. So I think it's funny because my man is very, street smart. And when I say street smart, I'm talking about just, learning life, knowing how to navigate life, learning how to navigate what life throws at you. When people are playing with you, being able to see through it. I still struggle with that because I want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. I love making people feel like, you can come to me, you can talk to me. Don't play in my face. Perception is a lot of things that really fucks people up when it comes to me, because they'll meet me and they're like, oh, you're an Oreo. You're basically a white black girl. And I'm like, no, I just like to read. I'm just educated. I will still rap Itty Bitty Piggy and Boss Ass Bitch at the top of my lungs. I never cared. I'm so sorry. Don't know what gave you that impression. I'm not just your regular schmegular book girl, but I will say I am very naive to a lot of the street stuff and a lot of just the basic things because I didn't experience a lot of it. Straight out of high school, I went to college. I did end up taking a break from college when I lost my grandparents because that did a number on me mentally and emotionally. So it took a moment for me to feel comfortable enough to go back to school. When I did go back to school, I went for something completely different. That's why I say I have a bit of a background in psychology, but I did not go fully for my psychology degree. What I did go fully for was my medical assisting license. So I've been a bit around. I did have to grow into the real world. I dealt with the whole living thing, paying bills, learning how to pay bills. What are service fees? You know what? Let's not get into that right now. I don't want to think about adulting. I hate it. I hate it so much. If I could go back to being a little kid, I'm going to take that back. I'm going to take that back. I'm going to take that back. I'm going to take that part back because I like being a grown woman. I like having my own freedom. I just hate bills and working. Hold on. Every decision is not going to be validated by your spouse. That's so true. Exactly. And that, my friend, ties into ego death. When you get to a point where you can look at a situation and understand my partner may not agree with every move that I'm making and be okay with it, you're on the right track. But sorry, I started rabbit holing. Like I was saying, I was never the street smart gal. My partner, on the other hand, he had a very different upbringing from mine. He moved around a lot, just like I did. But his mom wasn't as strict. He got to do a lot more stuff than I got to do. He got to experience a lot of things. He's met a lot of different people. So, like I said, with me, everybody wants to look at me like I'm this naive girl, and by all means, do it. But I'm always peeping. I'm always peeping something, okay? So people can only play with me for so long because I'll sit there and I'll let you play in my face just to see how far you're going to take it. You know, I love doing that. I love seeing how dumb people think I am. Maybe that's toxic of me. I don't know. Maybe I should, find a better way of navigating those relationships. But I just like to see how people are going to let things play out. And I feel like for a lot of people, that's what they take. And they're like, oh, she's not street smart. For me personally, I feel like God put us here so that we could learn. Everybody's individual experience eventually is going to help the collective. Everything that's happening for you, whether you know it or not, is affecting the next person. This is, again, another gem that I learned from my baby Kino. I love her down. She talks heavily about collectivism and how understanding that the people that God connects you to, he's connecting you to them for a reason. He's showing you why you're doing XYZ, why you need to do them. And sometimes you can learn from somebody else's experience. You can learn what to do or what not to do. And a lot of times it's what not to do because people be making dumb decisions. You can't follow everybody. That's just a basic thing that we know about relationships, about each other. You cannot follow everything that somebody does. A lot of people will say, do as I say, not as I do. Or do as I teach, not as I do, or something like that. Whatever it is. But that's one of my favorite sayings because people will tell you all the time, oh, you need to do it this way. And then they'll turn around and they do not take their advice. That does not mean that their advice was not valid because instead of them taking their own advice, which I can admit, I struggle with taking my own advice a lot. I can tell somebody all day how to navigate a situation, but I can't tell myself. Oh. Thank you. She's bad. Yes, she is. And like I said, don't forget that number 704-406-9727 is the hotline. So if y'all have questions, if y'all want to chime in, give me your perspective, feel free to come into Kennedy's Corner. Give it to me. Let me know. So, what was I saying? What was I talking about? Y'all remember? I don't remember what I was talking about. I was rabbit holing. I can't lie. I do that a lot. Y'all have to bear with me when it comes to that. But like I said, for the men, you want them to be able to navigate those conversations properly. You need a man who's going to see things that you can't see. And vice versa. Your partner, whoever that partner is, needs to have a clear lens that if you're not looking through it, they can pull you to the side and be like, hey, babe, I don't really think that person has pure intentions for you. I don't really think that person is really your friend. Because sometimes our partners will see stuff before we can see it. I know there's been times where I've had to tell my man, that is not your friend. And there's been times where my man has told me that somebody's not my friend, and I'll have to sit there and be like, no, glad you took it back. What I took back? Huh? Oh, being a kid, yeah. Not doing that. Anyway, but like I was saying, your partner needs to be able to see the things that you can't see. They have to be able to come to you and give you advice even when you're not ready to hear it, because eventually y'all will be able to sit down in those conversations and be like, babe, you were right. She wasn't my friend. And sometimes, it's a bittersweet thing, but at the end of the day, my man is my best friend. So I love when he calls out this stuff and he's able to see it when I can't. Like I said, when it comes to taking the lead, that's conversations, money management, date planning. Simple but powerful things that show that you're a leader are the things that are going to have the biggest impact on your relationship, because there's not always going to be a time where you're absolutely right as a man, and there's not going to be a time where you're absolutely right as a woman. But that's where feminine and masculine energies come into play, because when you put both of them together, I promise you, like, the outcome, the way that you view things, the way that you navigate situations, it literally, it shifts. It doesn't look the same anymore. You're not sitting here like, wait, like, I don't understand this. I don't understand this. I don't understand this. Because when you have that partner that is taking the lead and showing you things on both ends, like I said, because a woman can take the lead too on certain situations, a man can take a lead in most situations. But you just have to know these things. You have to know how to genuinely lead a relationship. I feel like it's important, like I said, for men to be understanding. We always talk about men will be men, boys will be boys. But where are those conversations for women? Where are those conversations of a woman is going to be emotional? Learn how to deal with that. A woman isn't always going to express herself the way that you want her to express herself. Learn how to deal with that. Because my man can ask me if I'm mad a million times, and I'll sit there and be like, no, I'm not mad. Whole time, if I was in a cartoon, steam would be blowing out of my ears. Like, I would be beyond heated, you know? So these are just little tidbits, little facts, little things that I feel like are important for men and women in relationships. I took from what the Bible said. I gave y'all a little breakdown, little synopsis on that. Do I believe in 50-50 relationships? Well, yes, actually. When I say 50-50 relationships, though, I don't feel like a lot of people are going to be happy with what I look at a 50-50 relationship as. I'm not looking at a 50-50 relationship as you and me paying bills together, you and me doing XYZ together. No. 50-50 in a relationship looks like, if my partner can't do something this day, I'll do it for them. If I say I'm sick, right? Imagine 10 years from now, me and Brandon are married. I'm sick as a dog. I can't even get out of bed. He's going to have to be able to get up, take care of the kids, cook, do the laundry, sweep, mop, clean up if I need him to. All of these things that typically are seen as a woman's role, a man needs to be able to do, and vice versa. Say your man, he's working, he's doing what he can, but it's just not cutting it. Now, me personally, I know that men are able to get multiple jobs, and if they really put their mind to something, they can do it. So I do hope to one day be at a point where my man can take care of all the bills and I don't have to care about it. But say on the off chance there's a time where we're both working, I have my own little thing going on, he has something going on, he can't take care of a bill, I can pick up and take care of that bill. Dates, baby, if you're going on a first date with a man and he's looking at you to pull his wallet out or pull your wallet out, leave him there. He'll wash the dishes. No, that's not what 50-50 looks like. 50-50 is not, if I'm going on a first date with a man, I need to be prepared to spend something. No, if you're in a relationship with somebody and you want to take your man on a date and you want to pamper him and spoil him, cater to him, show him that he's loved, that he's your little prince, like you're his little princess, that's different. But a lot of men, especially this new generation, don't believe in paying for first dates, and I just find that insane. How are you going to sit here and ask me on a date? You went out of your way to ask me to go with you to this fancy-ass restaurant. You asked me to get dressed. It took me 3 hours to get ready. And you're sitting here telling me that you can't, or I have to pay for something, you can't pay for it? That's not going to work at all. So yes, I do believe in 50-50 marriages, but just not the way that you typically would believe in a 50-50 marriage. I don't look at it the way that I guess society is trying to paint it as, where we both have to take up these roles and everything like that. I feel like this was a great conversation. I love talking with you guys and just giving you some perspective. Do we have time for probably one or two more callers? I'll give y'all one or two more callers if somebody wants to call in and ask a few more questions. And then that's probably going to be it for tonight. But like I was saying, I feel like it's very important for you guys to know that I'm not the tell all be all, okay? I'm not sitting here like my opinion is the one that's going to change the world. But I do believe that it's important to have other perspectives when you're going into any situation. And that's what I want this platform to be. I want to be able to give you guys perspectives that you probably wouldn't typically look for or get in your day-to-day life. Um, and like I said, I'm only 23. My birthday is coming up. I will be 24 at the end of this year. But I'm still learning. Every day is a learning experience. And I'm just so grateful and so thankful that God has given me the chance to learn and to grow and do the things that I'm doing. So I think that is about to be the end. I don't think I'm going to get another caller. But I do want to say that I love you all. I appreciate you for tuning in. We will be back with another segment. And just let me know what other topics you guys have. If anybody has any, I will be linking my email down below. And if you're my friend or family, feel free to text me. Oh, we do have a caller. Thank you for calling Kennedy's Corner. How can I help you?
Yes, I was calling in.
Hello?
Question.
Hi, what's your question?
Yes. I just wanted to get perspective from somebody else as far as something that's going on in my relationship.
Okay.
Hello?
Oh, I'm listening. I can hear you.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, recently my girl, she's been kind of tripping because of my following on social media. She's not, she doesn't like when I follow women on Instagram, and I tell her that the women on Instagram are they're just childhood friends, people I grew up with, and she has a problem with that. So I just wanted to give somebody else's opinion on it.
Okay. My first question for you is, how old are you guys? How old are you? How old is she your wife? Is she just your girlfriend?
She's my girlfriend. She's 22. I'm 28.
Okay. So off rip, we already see that there's a bit of an age gap. I think one thing that we also have to be mindful and aware of, I don't think your girl is tripping. Off the simple fact of what is going on behind the scenes that's making her question why you have so many women on your page. Is it just women? Is it mostly women on your social medias? What do these women post? Are you interacting with their posts? I feel like there's a little more that's missing from the story.
Well, yeah, I don't interact with anybody really on social media. Majority of my followers are my guy friends. But I mean, I would say probably 15 to 20 are women, and out of about 700 followers.
Okay, so if you don't interact with them, and most of your followers are men, why is it an issue that your girlfriend wants you to remove the other women from your page?
I don't know. It's just I think it's just a jealousy thing. I think she, I don't know. I think she just gets jealous a lot.
And that's okay. So, like I was talking about earlier, I was speaking on ego death. And I was talking about how when we look at relationships, we have to have a mutual respect for each other. If this is somebody that you want to grow with, and are you dating to marry, or are you just dating for the time being?
Absolutely, I want to marry her.
Exactly. So if this is who you want to marry, and this is who you want to be with, marriage comes with sacrifice and compromise. If she's coming to you and she's expressing a concern, first of all, be grateful. Because there are a lot of girls who would just let that animosity build up, and instead of talking about it with you, they would let their anxieties run rampant in their heads. So for her to be able to come to you and be like, hey, babe, I'm not comfortable with the women that you have on your page. I understand they're childhood friends, but me personally, I'm not comfortable with it. Be understanding of that. Ask her why she's not comfortable. Don't sit there and make it a jealousy thing, because at the end of the day, it's a respect thing. If you went to her and you told her, hey, I don't want you having this guy on your page. Every time I turn around, he's interacting with your posts. He's always commenting hard eyes. He's always extra friendly and everything like that. Remove him. And she was like, oh, well, he's just a family friend. You're being jealous. How would you feel?
That's a good point.
So I just feel like when you're looking at your relationship, you need to look at it from that lens. If this is the person that you're going to marry, you're going to have to make those sacrifices and those compromises for her. Get them bitches off the page.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for calling in. Any other questions before I let you go?
No, that's it. I appreciate you.
All righty. I'm wishing y'all nothing but the best.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Yes, guys, that is something that I feel like a lot of people need to be able to do. Make those compromises in your relationship. Do not sit there and assume that your partner is just doing something out of jealousy or just doing something because they want the control of you or they want to control your Instagram or your Facebook or Snapchat, whatever. It's about respect. You have to respect your partner. You have to respect their needs. If you can't do that, get out of the relationship. I love the fact that he called for genuine advice. It lets me know that he's genuinely wanting to change. And I hope him and his girlfriend tune in with me more and I can give them both more advice moving forward. Like I said, I'm not a relationship coach, but I'm a girl in this world and I understand that it's not easy. Sometimes we need to hear it from somebody else. We need an outside perspective. And I got my glasses clean today. You know, I got them all tucked on my face. I may be a little blind, but I can see. I can give you a little clarity on the situation. So that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Kennedy's Corner Talks. I hope to see you guys again soon and have a very blessed night. God bless you all. May everybody who tuned into this show have the best, most abundant week of their life. Stream Nicki Minaj, Pink Friday 2, out on all streaming platforms. And just be happy. Choose happiness. Bye.
Hey, yo. Hey, yo. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the UAP Radio YouTube channel to catch new podcast shows every week.
Who is he talking to?